Over the last 25 years, talking to a lot of buyers and sellers and a lot of business people and successful people, and myself having a bachelor's degree and owning investment properties and owning businesses, I have learned a lot of life-changing skills and bad habits regarding money and finances. So let's talk about it. The first money habit that keeps you poor that I've learned is paying yourself first. If you read or come across the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about paying yourself first. He recommends that you pay 10% of your income first. Rich people pay themselves first. As soon as they get the check, they put 10%, 5%, whatever they can into a savings account and forget about it. What do poor people do? Well, usually poor people don't pay themselves at all. And if they have any leftovers, they may pay them here and there, but not on a regular basis. So the first thing and the most important thing that I've learned and that what people say is that pay yourself first, just like the rich people do. I understand that paying yourself first may be difficult at first. So if you're getting some money and if you put away $100, $200, $300 a month upfront, you may be short. But as time goes by, as you change your habits, and we'll talk about your spending habits, this will become easier and easier. And as your gross payment check comes in and goes to your savings account, you won't even realize that you're missing it. And this is all through habits, which we'll talk about later on. The second thing you can do is to cut your debt. We all have a lot of debts. We buy a home and we have payments, or we have cars, 2 cars, expensive cars, and we like to spend money. So we have overall a lot of debt. And the best thing to do is, number one, is to avoid taking on debt. And if you have debts, cut back on your debts. If you remember, when we charge money, we go to a restaurant or we go to the movies, we charge everything on credit cards, presents, gifts, vacation. Everybody wants us to spend money. Credit card companies, marketing companies, big malls, big companies wants us to spend more. And here we are charging away our life to it. And today, if you know, the average credit card runs around 22%. Home payments are about 7% these days. Auto payments are about 7% these days. Credit cards, and most of us have full credit cards, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 balances a month, and paying 22% is really ridiculous. So by cutting debt, you're improving your financial situation. It's just a bad habit that we have to come across. The third thing we can do, and most don't do these based on talking to them and hearing from them, is to track your income and your expenses. We always spend money, as I mentioned earlier. We want to go on a vacation, we want to buy a present, we want to buy a nice car, more than we can afford, get a loan, charge it on credit cards. Next thing we know, we're spending $10,000 a month. Then we find out, hey, our income is only $8,000 a month. Or you may be spending $3,000 a month and your income is only $2,500 a month. So you're short every month $500, $2,000, $1,000 a month. So by tracking your income, first of all, knowing your income, putting away 10%, putting away for taxes, then you spend the rest of the money, rather than spending money and then worrying about where you're going to pay for it. So tracking your expenses every month or every quarter. Look at your payments, your rent or your house payment, your property taxes, your fuel, your car payments, your food, your clothing, etc., etc. Make a list and see what your total monthly expenses are on average. And is your income matching that? So this is a very important thing to do, very easy thing to do. And with a little bit of help and a little bit of doing it every month, it becomes natural to track your money and your income and expenses. One of the things wealthy people do and rich people do is they track and have financial goals. So they have financial goals of, say, how much do they want to make this year or in 5 years or in 10 years, and they set an action plan for it and actually do it. At the same time, they control their expenses. So setting goals, financial goals, is key to getting out of debt and having good habits to become wealthy. The fourth thing to do when it comes to bad habits or bad financial habits is to limit your expenses. One of the easiest things to do to cut your financial loss or to have savings is to cut your expenses. If you want to buy a car, are you going to buy a car that's limited to your budget, or you want that fancy car? If you're buying a house or a property, are you buying what your lender told you to buy, a set amount, or you want something better because you want a better house or a bigger house? Are you going on lavish vacations where you can just go on a regular vacation? So by cutting your expenses based on your income and based on your income goals and your financial goals, one of the easiest thing to do is to cut expenses. And the way to cut expenses is track your expenses for 1 or 2 or 3 months. Write everything that you spend every month and then find out, hey, where is something you can cut? Are you going out to eat too much? Are you paying too much golf? Are you taking every third week you are going somewhere on a vacation, mini vacation? That's something you can cut. So cutting your expenses is one of the easiest way to start achieving your financial goals. The fifth thing is the opposite of what I just talked about. I talked about cutting expenses. The fifth thing you can do is focus on your earnings and your savings. So once you have an income check and hopefully you are starting to put 10% down or 5% down and you are focusing on savings. And of course, savings, first thing you can do is cut expenses. But if you have a fixed income, how can you save if you're barely making your payments? So one of the things you can do to save more money is to earn extra money. If you're working 40 hours a week or 45 hours a week, which is pretty good, can you work 5 hours part-time? Or can you do a side hustle in the weekend? Can you do an online business and earn extra money? If you earn $100, $200, $500 a month on online business or working extra or doing a side hustle, can you put that money away for long-term growth? If you're 20 years old or 30 years old or 40 years old, imagine you earn all that extra $500,000, $2,000 a month on extra, and you start saving them into investment accounts or buying a property. That goes a long way. So saving money, earning extra money, looking at your financial goals, cutting your expenses, they are all tied together. That's a great habit to have. The sixth thing that you should do and one must do is to minimize taxes legally. One of the biggest expenses that we all have if we are working is paying those taxes. And I'm talking about your income taxes, your state taxes, federal taxes. But remember, you also have your property taxes if you own a property. Anytime you go buy something in the groceries or in the mall, you are paying 7, 8, 10% sales tax. So if you look at the 20, 30% income taxes, your property taxes, your sales tax, you're talking 30, 40, 50% of your salary. So one of the things you can do and one of the things that rich people do is they save on taxes legally. Of course, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. So please talk to your accountant or your professional. But I know myself that I've been saving on taxes. Some of the things you can do is open up an IRA account, open up a Roth IRA account as you earn and put those away so that you're not taxed on it. I'm self-employed and I have a corporation. So I've opened up 10 years ago based on my accountant's advice. I opened up a corporation and now I can do a SEP IRA account, which is the self-employment pension. So not only can I put $6,000 as an IRA account, I can put up to 15% of my salaries. So instead of putting $6,000 a year as tax savings, I can put up to $20,000, which is not taxable. I work with a lot of investors, and one of the things that I've learned and helped them with doing this real estate business for the last 25 years is a lot of the homeowners have a lot of equity. They borrow their equity, buy another property, and when you buy another property, first of all, you get property tax deductions, your interest rate deductions. If you fix something up, if the house is vacant, all those are deductible items. But the other thing that these people do that own property is take advantage of depreciation. Of course, when you buy a rental property or income property, you have depreciation, but they've learned through their accountants and their financial planners that you can accelerate this depreciation. So instead of taking depreciation, which helps your taxes for 27, 28 years, they take what we call an accelerated depreciation of 7 years. So for the first 7 years, you're taking big depreciation, which means you're saving a lot on taxes. And that's another way to become rich and save more than you can. So being educated, talking to financial planners, your accountant, talking to realtors and lenders will help you a lot and goes a long way. But the biggest expense you can cut of all the things is saving on taxes legally. The other thing you can do to save money is start investing or start saving early. I remember when my daughter graduated, the first thing I told her is that every time you get a paycheck, put 10% away into savings account, and she's been doing that. So the earlier you start, I did not start saving until I was 40, 45 years old. I did not know much and nobody told me about it. But now when I meet people or when I talk to people, most of them start early. It's always good to start whenever you can, but the earlier you start, the better it is. Imagine you bought Tesla stocks today, which are $400 per share as an example. And imagine you bought those shares 5 years ago. There's an advantage. Imagine putting $500 every month and you started it 5 years ago and those are getting 5-6% interest. That has become a lot of money versus starting now. So it's never too late to start saving, but the earlier you can start, the more you will earn and the more you will save. And your growth, financial growth will be exponential. The eighth bad habit I want to talk about is about overcoming excuses to invest. I talk to some people and other people have told me, hey, Mike, I don't know where to put my money. I don't know where to invest. I have $10,000 or I have $100,000 and they don't know where to invest, how to invest, or they are scared to invest. So this is where a professional help comes in. Talk to your accountant, your lenders, or your realtors, or your lawyers, or other financial planners, and they'll help you and guide you on where to invest, how to invest, and protect your money, protect your principal. But the key thing is that don't make excuses. Hey, I'll invest after I get married, we'll have two incomes, or I'll invest when my kid's out of college, or I'll invest when I'm after 50. And we have all these excuses, but getting serious about wealth building, starting early and getting right into it is key to wealth building. When it comes to wealth building, time is on your side. So being educated, being aware, cutting your expenses, and knowing that you have to invest today because inflation may be high. Expenses today are skyrocketing. So the expenses that you have today and the income you have today, if your expenses keep going up and up and up, which is usually more than your income, are you going to be able to pay or have a lifestyle that you have right now in the future? So you need to start saving for the future. And the earlier you do, the more money you have for the future. The other bad habit that we discovered talking to other people and reading books and going to webinars and seminars is that people don't take advantage of educational resources. We graduate from high school or college, or we get busy, we get married, and we have no time to educate ourselves on making money or cutting our expenses. And one of the best things you can do, and I myself had the pleasure of talking to a lot of buyers and sellers and investors and business owners. A lot of my friends are financial planners, successful business people, so I learn a lot from them. But at the same time, I'm also what I call a seminar and a webinar junkie. I go to a webinar or a seminar every week on finances, on business operations, on tax savings, on social media marketing, social media businesses and things. So I educate myself. So if you talk to attorneys, if you talk to financial planners, if you go to webinars and seminars and attend free classes in the weekends, or today you can go online, you can go on YouTube. There's a lot of wealth of knowledge out there. So if you take, let's say, 20 minutes a week or half an hour a week on Saturdays or Sundays, educating yourself on wealth building, cutting cost, retirement planning, all that goes a long way, but we have to have that initiative to do it. So educating yourself is a very good thing to do, but it's a bad habit. People don't want to learn. People want to go out and go to the movies, go to the ball games, go out and eat burgers, but they don't want to take time to educate themselves. So again, it's talking about habits. The better your habits, the better they are. And so financial planning, goal setting, cutting expenses, it's all structured together. It's all one thing together. And that's a bad habit that we have, but we need to cut it slowly but surely. The 10th tip that we have learned is that most people learn from each other. Yes, you may not have time to go take classes because you have taken care of your parents or your kids and a lot of things going on. But by having friends who are successful, talking to them, if they're business owners or they have income properties or they are entrepreneurs, talk to them, hang around with them, listen to them, and you learn a lot just from hanging around with those kind of people. I've changed my friendship in the last 10 years, and the people I hang around with, a lot of them are business owners, property owners, entrepreneurs, software engineers, hotel owners, you name it, and they're my friends. And I hang around with them and I learn and listen to them and I gain a lot of knowledge. I started buying stocks 10 years ago. One of my hobbies is playing golf, and every time I played with some of my friends, they talked about stocks. Buy this, buy this. I didn't know anything about it. And over the 10 years, I started buying stocks. And guess what? Because I started buying stocks, learning from friends and family and businesses, my stock portfolio has gone up exponentially. It's a good thing I did, because if I did not learn from my friends and family and peers and business associates and homeowners and home sellers, I listened to them and I implemented them. So that's a good habit that I formed. Hope this helped you. Please watch this video that YouTube recommends for you. If you have any comments or would like to share any habits or mistakes that others make, please share with us. We will appreciate it.